When you first jump into programming, you might think it's all about complicated math and crazy algorithms. But honestly, the first thing you really learn is how to handle text. Today, we're going to unlock what I think is your first real superpower in Python, mastering strings.
Just think about it for a second. Every single app on your phone, every website, every game, they're all just flooded with text, right? But here's the kicker. Computers don't understand words. They only get numbers. So how in the world do they work with all these messages and sentences? Well, the answer to that is the key to pretty much everything you're ever going to build.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to treat this like a video game, leveling up through 5 stages. First up, we'll figure out what a string even is. Then we'll learn how to look inside them, get some cool tools to change them up, and finally, learn how to combine them. And to wrap it all up, we've got a little mission for you to test out all your new skills.
Okay, let's dive into Level 1, Creating Text. Before we get to all the fancy stuff, we've got to start with the basics. What is a string? And how do we even create one in Python?
So what are we actually talking about here? A string is, well, it's just a sequence of characters. It's Python's way of handling text. You can think of it like beads on a string, right? Each character is a bead, and they're all lined up in a specific order. Anytime you see a word, a sentence, or even just one letter in your code, you can bet you're looking at a string. And the best part? Making them is super easy. You can wrap your text in double quotes, or you can use single quotes. Python honestly doesn't care which one you pick. But check out that last example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a really important point. Because those numbers are inside quotes, Python sees them as text. It's not the number 123,000, it's the characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't do math with it, it's just a label, like a zip code or a phone number. All right, we've got the basics down. Time to level up. Welcome to Level 2, looking inside your text. So we know how to make a string, but how do we, peek inside and grab just the pieces we want?
This next idea is absolutely crucial. I want you to picture a string like a street with a bunch of houses all in a row. Every single character lives in its own house, and each house has a unique address. In programming, we call that address an index. So let's take the string Python and see what that looks like.
Okay, look closely at these numbers. This is one of those things that trips up everybody when they start programming. We don't start counting at 1, we start at 0. So the very first character, the P, is at index 0. The Y is at 1, T is at 2, all the way to the end. This is called zero indexing, and you just gotta burn it into your brain. It's one of the fundamental rules of the road in Python. And that brings us to a super important, non-negotiable rule about strings. They are immutable. It's a fancy word, but all it means is that once you create a string, you can't change it. It's like it's been carved in stone. You can't just go into our Python string and swap out the P for a J. No way. If you wanted the word Jython, you'd have to create a brand new string. This one rule is the entire reason the tools we're about to see are so powerful.
So if you can't change strings, how do you work with them? You slice them up. Slicing is how you grab pieces of a string to build new ones. That little colon is your best friend here. When you see text :6, that means start at the beginning and go right up to, but don't include, index 6. Text 7: is the opposite. Start at index 7 and go all the way to the end. And here's a little pro tip that's super useful. Using a negative number counts from the back, so text -4: is a slick way to say, just give me the last 4 characters.
Okay, time to kick it up a notch. Welcome to Level 3, your string transformation tools. This is where you get your power-ups. These are built-in commands, which we call methods, that let you take a string and create a totally new transformed version of it. It's pretty cool.
Let's start with a simple one, changing the case. You've got the string hello in all lowercase. All you do is tack on .upper at the end, and boom, you get a brand new string hello in all caps. And remember what we said about strings being immutable? The original hello string is still there, completely unchanged. This .upper method just gives you a new copy. Oh man, this next one is an absolute lifesaver. You know when you ask a user to type something in and they accidentally hit the spacebar a few times? You get all this messy white space. Well, .strip is your cleanup crew. It takes that messy string and just shaves off all the extra spaces from the beginning and the end, giving you a nice, clean version. Here's another perfect example of that immutability rule in action. We can't just edit the original string, right? But what we can do is use .replace. You just tell it two things, what you're looking for, in this case, Java, and what you want to replace it with, Python. And just like that, it hands you back a brand new string with that change.
And trust me, there are so many more tools in this toolbox. You've got .title, which is perfect for capitalizing the first letter of each word in a title. There's .split, which can take a whole sentence and chop it up into a list of individual words. And then there's .find, which helps you locate exactly where a certain character or word starts inside a bigger string. So useful.
All right, level 4, we can make strings, we can look inside them, we can even transform them. Now it's time to put it all together and learn how to build bigger, more dynamic text from smaller pieces.
The easiest way to join strings is literally just to use the plus sign. This is called concatenation, which is just a fancy word for smushing strings together. So you can take the string start, add a string that's just a single space, that part's important, and then add the string coding to get your final result, start coding.
But what if you need to mix in variables? This is where things get really powerful. Now there's an older way to do this using .format, and you'll probably see it in older code. It works, but the modern, cleaner, and honestly just better way is to use an F string. All you do is put a little F right before the opening quote. That's it. That F gives the string superpowers, letting you pop your variables right inside curly braces. It's so much easier to read and write.
Okay, you've done the training, you've leveled up, you've got the skills. It is time for the final quest, your first string mission. Let's see if we can put all these new superpowers into practice.
So here's your first challenge. Imagine you need to ask a user for their name, and then you need to print it back to them, but shout it out in all caps. How would you do that? Which couple of tools that we've just talked about would you need to combine?
And here is the elegant two-line solution. First, we use the input function to ask the question and store whatever the user types into our name variable. Then, on the second line, we do something called method chaining. We take that name variable and right on the end of it, we call the .upper method. This creates the all-caps version right as it's being sent to the print function. Super efficient.
Okay, ready for one more quick one? Let's say you have the string programming. What's the cleverest way to use slicing to grab just those last 4 letters, the Ming part?
And the answer is that awesome negative slicing trick we talked about. By writing text -4 series, you're giving Python a really simple instruction. Count 4 characters in from the very end, and give me everything from there to the finish line. It's just a super clean and powerful way to do it. So, let's zoom out. What does all this mean? It means you now have one of the most important tools in any programmer's toolkit. You've genuinely unlocked your first Python superpower, the power to work with text. This is the bedrock for everything from building websites and games to analyzing huge amounts of data. You're officially on your way. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?